All right, all right. Good afternoon, traders. Happy Friday, everybody. Welcome to the final day of the first week of the year, 2024. A little bit of a slow start. Nothing too untoward, however. Greetings to you, Sandy. Sandy posted that she found some great videos on YouTube for anyone who is using interactive brokers. YouTube is such a great source. I mean, obviously, we have to be somewhat cautious of, what information we're getting, but once we find a reliable source and you see someone who's clearly competent, I think you can tell right away, right? You can tell right away, is this person knowledgeable? Are they going to be helpful? Are they going to point me in the right directions in what they're doing, and how they use the platform? So thank you for sharing. We're going to give it just one more minute. Looks like everybody who is in the waiting room's audio is on. We're going to give it just 1 second before we start. Anyone who else struggles in. We are 2 sessions into the second round of Trading Foundations. Remember that it is a condensed, it's not abridged, right? It's not abridged. It's not like we're not giving some of that info. I'm squeezing it in, going faster, covering more ground. I mean, it's recorded, right? So you can go back, watch it again. I have 2 kids in college, and my wife is actually going back to school to finish her degree. And I found this AI software that takes notes. You can copy and paste a PDF or an online book, or you can have it listen to a presentation, and it will basically like take and organize notes for you. How crazy is that? But once I pay for it, I'm gonna, obviously the whole family will use it. I'm gonna use it to run on some of the presentations and see what it delivers. I love AI. Big fan of AI. Bear with me also. I'm coming down with something. It doesn't feel like the COVID. It just feels like a cold or something. I'm a little stuffy, a little bit of wheezy cough. So bear with me if I cough into the microphone and don't get muted in time. All right. Welcome out, everyone, to the Market Watch Group Weekly Market Wrap. I am Scott. I will be your host. Here are our disclaimers. As always, reminding you this is for educational, illustrated purposes only. We don't provide any actual recommendations to buy or sell. We strongly encourage you to make every trade we consider your own. Right? We share a watch list for the most part. I'm sure you have additional things on yours, but we do tend to approach the market in a like-minded way. Make sure that you do take ownership of every trade. Today's agenda: market analysis. What's going on? Yeah, we started. So it was interesting because when the strong employment news came out, and I got to tell you, for me personally, I never thought we should have an interest rate decrease in the first quarter. I thought nope to January, nope to March, yes to May. But the market was disagreeing with me. I'm okay with that. The market was disagreeing with me. It was pricing in more aggressive. I got to tell you, UBS, like I said, they're projecting 2.75% decrease. That's basically impossible. That would mean that they're going to cut every single meeting, and on 3 of them, they're going to do half a point cuts. Quarter, half, quarter, half. I just don't see that happening either. When we see a stronger than expected across the board, unemployment claims were down, ADP private payrolls were better than expected, Department of Labor non-farm payrolls better than expected, unemployment rate was expected to tick up, it stayed the same. The strength of the labor economy is the heart of this bull market. It's the heart of our economy right now. So as long as that's intact, I feel pretty good. But the first initial reaction was negativity. Oh, it's so good, it's bad. They're not going to lower rates now. Well, okay, that's fine. We'll get past that. That doesn't a little bit of a pullback, pricing in less dovish Fed action. It does not going to change our posture. Our posture is going to drop, I think. Quarter, maybe half a point. Anything above 5, we're bullish. Anything above 6, we're very bullish. So I'm not worried about that either. But we will revisit the market posture. Just look at what we see going on. Mindset for any trades. What trades would you be carrying over? I took a half of a hedge back when the market, when the VIX gave us a higher low, took a half a hedge. I had shut down my time spreads, but I did put on a new one. I messed it up on the paper account. So that one's a little bit underwater right now, but I'm actually going to leave it and let the market posture prevail. But I did put on a half a hedge. The half a hedge is doing all right. I'll probably take half of the half a hedge off and carry the rest through the weekend. What else would you maybe have? Early bullish trades, anticipatory bullish trades. There might be a few things that have given us confirmed action, and we'd probably be holding on to those as well. But we definitely seem to be pushing support, holding that level, and preparing to then move the other way is the way it's looking to me. So what we'll look at today's market, we'll look at the posture, mindset for trades. What are we looking at for next week? We'll look at the economic calendar. We'll review our watch list to see what's going on in there. Remember, trading plan progress this week. This is the year of the trading plan. This is the year your trading plan is stronger than it's ever been. The trading plan is the tangible representation of your progress as a trader, your growth in your experience, in your education, in your ability to translate and parlay this experience and this education into an improved process. This is the year you put it all together, right? We're gonna get 3 passes in the first 6 months, and it's gonna be amazing what your trading plan looks like when you're done. This week, what should you have done? Personal info, strengths, weaknesses, very important to help set goals. Commitment, discipline, mission statement, vision statement. There's a lot there. This is a section that a lot of people are like, oh, what do I need this for? What do you mean? You need to honestly self-assess and understand what about you helps make you a good trader. Leverage that. Keep doing it. What about you makes you struggle as a trader? And if you're like, oh, I'm not sure, well, then look harder because it's there, I promise. But that part's very important. And then it gets into discipline and motivation. And that is something that we definitely want to make sure that we are taking into consideration as we build our trading. Okay, let's get into it. Let's get into it. Apple continues to get smashed. That's not great. I took one on, it was not bad. If you remember back here, I took an anticipatory trade, felt pretty good about it because it turned. The next day it rolled back over. And I shut down I shut down most of it, but I carried some of it, and then it was just bam. And when it did that, I'm like, well, I'm at, whatever's left. There's barely any value. I may as well just hang on to it, and now it's basically it's worthless. So the remaining piece, I look at it and I think, did I make a mistake? And I actually look back and feel like, no, I was bullish. I liked what I saw. Took the initial signal. It was a good initial signal. Right? This is a great signal. I thought it was fantastic right there. Next day, you're like, ooh, but it still had prospects. So I kept some, and then I got battered. Anyone else? Let me know. Let me know. All right, let's take a quick peek at the SPY first. Whatever else, this still looks bullish. Now, were there a couple of heavy selling days that we're going to have to reflect? Of course. We're empirical and objective about what we see. So was this a down day on heavy volume? Yes. Was this one as well? Yes. This one, no. This one, no. So what does that tell us? It tells us that the sellers are running out of steam. Where? Very close to this old level. Definitely well above this level here and the 50-day moving average. I don't have any problem with this at all. This looks just fine to me. It looks like it's coming in. What is support? Support is where the sellers stop selling and the buyers start buying. Okay, well, that's where I see us, right? That's where I see us now. Okay. Intraday, however, you can see we opened flat. The buyers came in, rallied up a little bit. Sellers pushed it back down. Buyers pushed it up a little bit. Sellers pushing it back down. So we have a tug of war going on here. You can see the buyers trying to make a run. What is it that I like about this market? Look at this VIX. So you can see that there's been a hint of escalation. Let me get my drawing tools. You can see that there has been a hint of escalation. And it's, you know, there's my higher low. It's popped up a little bit, but what has it not done? I feel good about this level across the top of this. Even today, it flirted above it, not that big of a deal. Came back down, and now looks like it's heading down to the underside. So am I a little concerned still that this seems to be happening? Yes. But the fact that this held, I got to tell you, and is rolling over to the downside, it hasn't turned on the stochastics yet, but it's right there. I feel like everything is still in place. We see that it's holding up. And as we go through our watch list, you're going to see we have a number of strong stocks that are starting to do the same thing. Find support, get ready to go the other way. Okay, let me know if you have any different observations, if you have any questions, etc. Okay, so let's talk about our posture for just a minute. Let me go back. Oh, did it fix itself? I had to log out and back in. Let me see if it worked. Oh, it's working now. So my connection from my watch list to this detached list of charts was like broken. It wouldn't work. I had to log out and back in a few times, but it looks like it's over being glitched. Okay, so short-term trend, no change. No change. We still had a recent higher high, right? We still had a recent higher high. The pullback still no concern with the amount of, I mean, a little concern. That's not true. Not no concern, a little concern. But overall, the trend still looks intact. We still don't know. It could, if it bounces from where it is now, we might look to draw this line. And how would I score that trend? That's probably a little bit lower, right? I might give that, well, maybe a 1.5. We're at 175 right now. This is flat. This is about as good as it gets going this way. So yeah, that's pretty much right in the middle. I would say that's about a 1.5. We're at 1.75. I don't know for sure yet, so I'm not going to score it down. I'm going to leave it until I have more confirmation of what comes next. Absolutely, though, it looks like it's sliding into a new higher low. When we look at the 3-year weekly chart, we acknowledged the fact that we were hitting a bit of resistance here. Certainly, it opens the door for something to pull back a little bit, but at the same time, remember that it's just 1 week. It did 1 week red there. It did 1 week there, and then it kept going for 3 more before it pulled back a little bit. So as of right now, is there some concern from a trading posture here? Sure there is, right? Absolutely. But we don't trade the weekly. Am I like, oh yeah, there could be a little bit of downward pressure from this? Sure, there could be. So maybe I trade a little bit less, but overall, this is not what I trade. This is all about the trend itself. So we'll just continue to look at what kind of an impact we think it's likely to have. Does the score change? No, because the trend hasn't changed. Volume. This is where we're going to see something different. Okay, so what do we have here? Buyers. And then sellers, 3-1. And then sellers and then buyers, 4-1, 4-2, 5-2. And then we have sellers. Nope. Then we have sellers and sellers. I'm going to say this one was kind of a tie. 5-4. 5-4 overall. So I still see more sellers or more buyers than sellers, but it's 5-4 now. So it's dropped again. This is a point that we discussed this last week. Steven said, wait, it's still more buyers than sellers. Why are you dropping your score? Because 5-4, last week we were 5-3. And we said this week, if we lose one and gain one, it's going to be, or maybe we are 6-4. Now it's 5-4. We lost a buy day and a sell day, and then we gained a sell day, and it puts us so that our overall ratio has decreased again. So this is likely to drop down to 0.25. Okay. 0.25 puts us at a 6.25. Major market, I'm going to say is likely to stay the same. Sectors all still look the same. I don't think we're going to see a shift in there. Volatility's at 1.5. Maybe, right? Maybe we drop that to 1.25. Let me pull that up. We did get confirmation on Tuesday of a higher low. I'm not going to give it a higher high because I'm still underneath that level that we had talked about around 14. And we've actually technically you would call this a lower high. So they could cancel each other. I don't know. I'm on the fence with this one. I'm either going to keep it the same or maybe it drops to 1.25, but it's still below 14. I don't know. So worst case scenario, we're a 6. Most likely we're 6.25. There's nothing here that's like, oh man, people are like, this bull market could be over. What are you talking about? That doesn't look like that at all to me. Let's get to our, let's look at the economic calendar and let's get to the watch list. Okay, I feel like I'm doing all the talking. What do you guys think? What do you see? What are you trading? What are you trading? Or are you getting ready to trade? I think we're going to see plenty of that. So here's what happened this week. Jobless claims. Well, let me see if I can reload this and get, oh, it's not giving me my data from yesterday. No, that's next week. Sorry. Let me go to here. We were expecting 130 from ADP, which would have been higher than previous month's 101. We got 164, better than expected. We were expecting jobless claims to come in at around 220 as previous. What did we get? Down to 202. We're expecting 170, about the same as the previous month. We got 216. Expecting unemployment to tick up. What do we get? 3.7. Everything looks great from that. Next week, what do we have? Next week, we have consumer credit, nothing really there. Deficit, nothing really there. Inventories, nothing really there. Next week, we have CPI and PPI. Right? So next week, we have some inflationary data. The market's a little confused. The market's a little confused by the Fed. You can see now. Let's look at it. Let's look at what the Fed has going on. If you look at January, this is at this point, the odds barely, I mean, it's 20-1, right? 15, 20-1 in favor of unchanged. That was never really in question. It was March that we saw it. Even today, it's shifting. So at one point today, it was 45 to 40. And now it's 62 to 33. So it was barely 1-to-1 even this morning. So there's a lot of speculation, prognostication about what the Fed's going to do based on how people are pricing in these rate probabilities. It's now almost 2-to-1 in favor of the rate cut in March. I would be okay if they didn't, but the market definitely, you can see, wants it and is still pricing that in. So looking for 1/4 of a point in March. In May, you can see that the possibility of a second cut is definitely, we're at least going to be 1/4 of a point, and we got about 1.5 to 1 odds that they give us a second cut in a row. But again, that's only 0.5 point in the first 3 meetings, and there's only 8 meetings. So do I think that we're going to drop more than 1 percentage point this year? I'm going to have to say no. I'm going to have to say after they give it those first 2, they give it a meeting or 2 to kind of see what's happening. And then all of a sudden it's September and there's only 3 to go. Well, we'll see what happens. Okay, that's what's coming up. Let's look at the heat map real fast today. Where do we have money flowing? Intel, or excuse me, AMD and NVIDIA chips. Not so much in the rest of technology, but chips are still doing okay. Financials, looks like there's some things trying to move. Communication services, Meta, yes. Google not quite. Consumer cyclical, we know Amazon is on our list. We know Home Depot is on our list. We know Costco is on our list. A lot of reds through here, but the things that are moving, Boeing on our list. I believe Caterpillar is. I believe that I put GE on the list the other day. Someone mentioned it to me. The map's looking pretty good. Okay, so let's get to the watch list. And let's see what we have. Anything you trade today would be more anticipatory. That's the bottom line, right? Aflac's flagging a little bit. There could be trades on Aflac and or AIG for us going into next week. AMD, it's pulled back, but that's still a viable signal, right? It's not back up at its highs, but that's viable. We bottomed. We're turning. Stochastic has turned. Everything about this looks fine. AMD 100% in a buyable position. If we had the alerts going. Oh, speaking of, I'm going to be sending out emails over the next week. One of them is going to be asked. It's going to be questionnaires that I put together on SurveyMonkey. I'm going to ask questions about how do we build the best alert service, right? What features, what information, things like that. And if we did a trading room, that extended beyond what we're doing now here, what would that look like? We've gotten some feedback about those features, those services, so we want to flesh them out a little bit. And so I would definitely like to get your guys' your input on that. So I'm going to be putting together those surveys, and then I'll be sending that information out. If there was an alert service, I would be like, I like AMD. I'd be looking at what's the entry range, where's the stop range, where's the target range, how much time do we give it, etc. Okay, Amazon. Amazon is still setting up. This would be anticipatory, but I like it. Even though it's slightly below the 50, I still like it. Even if I were just to trade it back up to 155, I think there's enough potential there. This would be something that I'm looking for Monday or Tuesday. Absolutely. Everything about this looks in line with what we're looking for. AXP. The financials are a little funky right now. They sort of gave a signal, but they didn't go, and then they tried to pull back, but they didn't really pull back. There's strength there still, but it seems a little harder to find a concise entry. We'll keep looking. Boeing, viable. That's 100% a viable signal right there. It pulled back. It found support. Stochastics is turning. The candle is turning. Same thing. My range for entry is somewhere in here. My range for stop somewhere down here. My range for target somewhere up here. That's the information I'm thinking of giving for for the alert service. I hate services that it's like entry at this level. And it's like, well, if I'm 10 cents below that or above that, what does that mean? I want to give a range where it's like, this is valid in this range. And if you take this here, it's valid to consider a stop loss in a range below. Right? You could be a little tighter, you could be a little looser. There's no right answer to those questions. There's just different answers. Like, hey, you're a little tighter, you're going to get a better reward to risk ratio, but you're more likely to get picked off. Same thing with target. I could set my target at 267 and be like, I'm just looking for it to get to the old high. Or I could set it at 274 and say, I'm looking for the higher high. Both are valid. Both are reasonable. That's what I'm looking to do is turn it into like these ranges so that as you get the alerts, if you're an hour late, you could look at it and say, yeah, this is still in that range. This is still viable. Give me your thoughts about that. BK, you guys are so quiet today. Is everybody tired? I'm a little tired from this week. I've got a little bit of that post-Christmas depression. My kids go back to school. My daughter leaves tomorrow afternoon. My son's going to leave Monday morning. So yeah, I get it. Friday or Builder, BLDR. Close. It's engulfing. It's pinching. It's holding this gap. I would say you could wait another day, wait for the Heiken Ashi. This looks viable as well. Press says, I wish I trusted my instinct, took gains off the table and reset for the new year, despite the bullishness we were witnessing last Friday. Dip was warning sign. I hear you. Here's the thing, though, to be careful about. We want to be careful that next time you're not like, see, I'm going to take them off. Because if next time you take all your profits off, the market's going to pop higher and you'll be like, oh, I should have kept something. It's a very delicate balance that we try to strike, and we're constantly shifting the scale. BLK. Set up, not confirmed, sometime before earnings, but not a lot. So if you were to think about this one on Monday, you only have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, 4 days. We saw a trade not long ago in the last earnings season that we were like, yeah, we didn't know if we had time, and we passed, and then the trade was fantastic. I'm like, I should have just took it. So if I see this, there's a good chance I'll take it. BX looks very similar, more time before earnings though. So do we have a few in the financial sector still setting up? Yes. Do we have a few that are overextended like Citigroup, too close to earnings? Yes. But we have viable trades setting up. Caterpillar, viable. Boeing, viable. Caterpillar, viable. It looks good in industrials. These are absolutely viable signals, 100%. COF, nothing yet. COP, oh man, I took it and I took it here and it looked fantastic here. And then it gave back here. Don't love that one. Still looking at it. Costco. It's not the best candle, but it's turning. Viable. CrowdStrike. Viable. Right? It's like you watch it, you're like, oh, is it ever going to give us a trade? And then it takes a little longer than you thought. And then over here, we're like, I don't know. Yeah, that's viable. Another one in the technology sector. CSX, nothing yet, but could be soon. Delta, is Michael here? Michael was holding on to this one. It looks like he's got paid off for his patience. It's turning. I don't know. I think that's viable for a bounce. I would be more inclined to go with a Heiken Ashi tightened stop, but we'll see. DHI looks like a setup. DIA, it's pulled back but hasn't turned. ENVX, I think it's a go. I could put a stop loss just underneath here. 80 cents of risk for what? I'm getting 260. I'm getting 3-1 at the old high with a stop underneath here. 3-1 at the old high. I'm getting 4-1 or 5-1 if it gets to a new high. This looks good. We've been watching. Fastenal setting up. Not yet though. GE, viable. More in the conglomerates level. GLD, nothing here yet. Google. Oh, Google was close. And you're like, oh, look at that red candle. Look at that volume. It's ready to hold support Monday or Tuesday, turn. Home Depot, viable. IBM, nothing there. ICE, close. It would be anticipatory, but we know this one can move quickly on entries. We've seen that happen twice in a row. Definitely watching that one. INTC, close. Almost viable today. Not quite yet. IWM, close for the small caps. JP Morgan, looks more like Citi, nothing there. KKR, making a comeback. Yeah, making a comeback. Meta, viable. Beautiful. Beautiful. Has anyone taken any of these trades that I've shown so far? A lot of different things that are given confirmation today. Let me know which ones you like, which ones you're trading, which ones you're considering. I love Meta. Microsoft, nothing. Nothing for me still. I said already, it's in this basing pattern. So waiting for that to break out before making any kind of moves on that. Netflix, I think it's there, but I like Meta and Google better. NVIDIA, I like AMD and Intel better. So it's not really one I'm interested in. PCAR, very close. Monday or Tuesday, signal. PNC, the stochastics has pinched but hasn't turned. I think it's viable. Qs look close. RCL turned, viable. SMCI, viable. It was viable yesterday. Snap, viable yesterday. Better today. SPY, holding on. I think it looks like it's going to turn. STLD, materials look pretty good, but I'm not sure about that one. Here's UBS. UBS looks viable for a financial trade. UNP looks very close. Setting up. Hasn't turned yet, but still looks good. Here's the VIX. Oh, the VIX looks good. Yeah, I mean, we're like, oh, it escalated a little. Did it? It's under 14. It's under 14. How much could it possibly have escalated? WFC, patience, paying off. Looking good. We only have a few more days. I think a few people took this one. I hope you didn't end up shutting her down. It never did too much. So as an anticipatory trade, you got to give it a little bit more flexibility, but that still looks viable. Walmart is setting up. We said we're going to wait for it to break, wait for it to show us more signs of buyers. We got those buyers starting to pull back. Okay, I would be willing to trade it on that pullback. Let's look at the sectors. Materials still looks good. Communication services looks fantastic. Look at that. That's exactly what we're looking for right there. Do we have the ability to be patient and wait till Monday or Tuesday? Yes, of course. Do we have the ability to put on a trade or two or three in a few different areas today if we wanted to? Yes, of course. Energy looks quite iffy. Financial still looks pretty bullish, but kind of meandering around a little bit. Industrials looks fantastic. Holding support, looking for a turn. Technology still looks quite strong. Staples looks quite ordinary. Was that good or bad? Well, I'm not thinking that there should be any defensiveness coming in. So this looks good. This is exactly what I'd be looking for on a defensive sector. Same with utilities. Stable, but not surging. For me, everything is intact. Our posture is likely to dip 1/4 to 1/2 point, but we're still above 6. We've got a number of signals, some of them already confirming across all 4 or 5. I think we have in all 5, but at least 4 in all of our growth sectors. The news is still good. So there we go. Biotechs have been showing strength. Might be an area to hunt for some to add to the watch list. Oh, they're definitely a little bit choppier, but they can move. Let's take a look at the ETF, XBI. Oh, I agree. Look at that. Definitely strong. Let's put XBI on the list. Maybe we'll spend, I would say, if we were to spend some time, I would say something like biotech, maybe even put a healthcare or two. from the broader group, I think basic materials is showing enough strength that we want to do something, but we don't have much from that. Otherwise, I feel like we're well represented across our watch list. Great call out for that one. Press. Talk to me, you guys. I feel like there's a little apprehension, right? I'm just sensing it. It's quiet. There's a little apprehension. Are you trading? Are you waiting for next week? If you're hesitating, what is the cause of that hesitation? Put it out there if you're willing to share. Maybe I'm misreading it. Maybe you're just feeling a little under the weather like me. Waiting for next week, Nick said. Okay, fair enough. Fair enough. You can see there's plenty of signals that look like they're going to turn, and it gets you through the weekend when you're like, I don't know if I love the uncertainty of the weekend. I get that. I get that. If it was like across the board signals, I'd be like, we should probably get some on. But the fact that there's plenty that are either already showing signs, but others that are still setting up, waiting for confirmation. I still feel like we have like 3-4 days worth of windows to find opportunities. Sometimes it's like feast or famine. It's like everything in one day shows a signal. And if you don't catch it, you're too late. I don't feel like that's the characteristic of this market. That's not the quality of what we're seeing. So I feel like there's an ability for that. Okay. Don't forget that we are working on section 1. Put some time in, write it down. If it's your first pass, if it's your second, if it's your third, I don't care. Keep fleshing it out. You're gonna find that you put a lot of work in your plan for like a year or two, right? It's not like 3 months, I have a good plan. It's a year or two where you're really constantly iterating different versions. I'm adding to it. I'm testing new things. And then you get to a point where you feel like, all right, I've put the work in. This plan is stable. These rules are stable. There's going to be some fluctuation in the subtleties and the nuances, but the base, the foundation of it is solid. It's established. That's what we're working towards. When you get to that point, and I would, if you've never been to that point, it's hard to say what you're going to, I will promise you the psychology you have where you feel like you're in control, where you feel like, obviously we don't control the market, but whatever's in our locus of control, we are controlling. You're a better trader. You're a better trader. Press says definitely some apprehension. Got to get comfortable with TOS. Okay. If you didn't see yesterday's Trading Foundations, we were talking about platforms and accounts and how do we get more comfortable? Number one, have a conversation or two with the broker themselves. And if you have some specific things that you're like, I want to be better at these, have them walk you through those. Number two, also have them show you what they think are the best resources. They'll show you some things online, probably on their website. Number three, find a trusted resource on YouTube. Like if you go to YouTube and you search Thinkorswim tutorial or Thinkorswim place a trade, Thinkorswim charts, you'll find dozens of videos. Are they all good? No. And if you start watching a video, you're like, this guy doesn't know what he's talking about. Great, get rid of it. You'll know quickly. You'll know very quickly if they're like, oh yeah, this guy's doing a couple of cool things. I want to watch this. I want to replicate what he's doing so I can learn how to place a first triggers OCO order. So I can see how to better use the alert system. That's what Sandy found. She found a YouTuber that had some reliability in the videos, and it's going to be super, super helpful. So definitely. Sanders says, I'm finding more weaknesses. God, every time I look, I find some, that's for sure. Okay. I appreciate you being willing to share. Just acknowledging that, yes, I'm a bit apprehensive. Remember the question I ask people, how do you feel? And if the answer is a bit apprehensive, my next question is that how you want to feel? And of course, you're like, no. Okay. What does that mean? It means that the chimp is hanging around. He may not be smashing the keyboard right now, but the fact that that we would say, nah, I don't want to feel that way, that means that somewhere behind us, Somewhere behind us, the chimp is lurking and he wants to come do damage. Don't let him. Regain control. Figure out what you need to do to move past that. And let's be ready for next week. These are the right conversations, I promise you. These are the right conversations to have. The market's a good market. Does it mean it's easy? It's never easy. Never easy. Okay, we will be back normal time Sunday for our posture. We'll do a little searching, make sure the watch list feels nice and buff and clean. We will get ready with some setups, talk about it's going to be alerts first. That will be the first thing that we look to implement as a new feature. And then from there, the possibility of trading rooms will come next. It's 2024. We're pushing hard. We want to move. We want to keep iterating and building this thing to be the best possible group it can be. I need your help. I need your help. I need you to send me feedback. I need you to tell me what we're doing right so we can keep doing it. Tell me what we could do better so we can improve it. Let's work together to make this the best possible experience. Hope you guys have a great weekend. I'm going to go spend a little more time with my kids before they hit the road and head on back to school. I hope you have something fun planned where you are. And as always, happy trading.